I am Estrella Gallegos from eXp Realty, and you are joining us on our Denver's Market Moment podcast. This is the show that guides you through the crazy but super cool world of real estate in the Denver metro area. So if you want to know all the deep Denver, this is where you want to be. This is like the cool place to be. Yeah. And I have Scott Leffert.
There you go.
Said it right.
Yeah.
I should know better because my name, but I promise I won't.
Just be like, hey,
anymore.
introduce yourself. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. So why don't you introduce yourself, Scott?
Yeah. So Scott Leffers, I'm a loan officer with True North Mortgage.
Nice. So Scott is our mortgage broker extraordinaire. So he's going to answer all of these questions or relate to things on the financing side, on the mortgage side, interest rate. And I am your real estate expert here in the Denver metro area. So we are here and we are going to talk today about something that is just cray cray. So first time home buyers are at an all-time low. All-time low. So that number, they dropped to 25%. That's the lowest number in the past 41 years. That's insane. So when you hear that, you're probably like, okay, well, what does that actually mean? The historic benchmark is 40%. So when we hear that it's dropped all the way down to 25%, that is a big red flag, right? We want to try to address it. And both Scott and I super passionate about helping first-time home buyers. So you're going to want to stick around because today we are going to talk about one, what's causing that? Like what in the heck is causing that number to drop from 40% to 25%? And number two, what are some tips and tricks that you can do so that you can win in a multiple offer situation and win your way to your first home? Okay. No surprise. The past couple of years were incredibly competitive. We saw lots of stuff happening in the market. It was on the news. You heard your friends and family talk about it. Multiple offers. Well, what caused that? There were two factors in that piece that caused this very competitive market. Number one, very low interest rates, historically low interest rates. If you were wanting to buy a house, it was the perfect time to buy because the affordability rate was really good, especially at the beginning of that. And then the second part of that created that frenzy was low inventory. So folks were refinancing their existing home. So they could go from like a 4 or 5% all the way down to like a 2%, 2-ish% interest rate. So it didn't make sense for someone to move if they didn't have to. And so sellers were staying put. They didn't want to go and put their house on the market. In addition, we were in the middle of a pandemic. A lot of people didn't want people in and out of their house. So that was one of the things that is impacting this first time home buyer piece. And then the other part of that is inflation and rapidly raising rent. So the rent has increased year over year, close to 19%, which is insane that your rent could be expected to go up that high. But we all live in Colorado. We live in the Denver metro area. We know that that is a big issue. And what that does, those two things impact a first-time home buyer's ability to save for a down payment. So they're either have less to put towards savings or they had a savings that now they're having to take out of to go buy a dozen of eggs. Like, it's just crazy. Scott, what are your thoughts on those things, that information?
Yeah. So when you told me the stats on the first-time home buyer, my first question was like, what was that stat for and how long did they measure it? As soon as you said that was your 2022 stat. And so as soon as you said that, it was like, cool, like that makes sense. And 22, because of the reasons you just mentioned with low rates and the low inventory problem, which was built up for a decade ago on builders not building them fast enough. But low rates, which caused the supply and demand unbalance, right? And then all of a sudden, you had first time home buyers who were looking to get out there and do certain things, but because the demand was so high and people were willing to throw more money at the property, it muscled them out. Like, they just didn't have the muscle and the strength that they used to have in previous normal markets. And because it wasn't a normal market and there was offers of 25 to 100 to almost 200 over asking price, a first time home buyer just can't compete. It was as simple as that. It's these programs and the assistance and the first time home buyer programs and the grants and all these things that are available to those folks are great, but they're there because we need help with the down payment and the closing costs. So cool. We love these programs because they help people all the time become homeowners, but then when you have to go and try to shell out an additional 25 or 50 grand to get a property, that's not worth it.
Right.
The simple math, it is what it is. And so, a 15% decline in that year, that's a big drop. And, I'd be curious to see what that stat looks like in 23, but I can certainly understand the why behind it.
Yeah. And we are seeing, there was a window of time, and we've talked about this on the podcast during that period, which was like October to like early January, which was like prime time for first time home buyers. We were able to get seller concessions. We were able to get properties under list price. There was a lot of like the first time home buyers were coming back in favor. You didn't have to like put tons and tons of money. We're still kind of there. Like the market is definitely starting to churn a little bit. And we're seeing some competitiveness, especially for houses that are in the right location, that are priced well and show well. You are likely going to see multiple offers. I'm seeing multiple offers on my listings. So as a first time home buyer, when you're putting in multiple offers on properties over and over, week over week, it can feel very defeating, but there is hope. There is actually a lot of opportunities for buyers right now. So I'm going to start with you, Scott. On the number side, on the financing side, what are you seeing in terms of offers accepted with your clients that are first-time home buyers? Like, where are they buying? What are they buying? Like, what are you seeing on your end?
Yeah, we have a healthy mix. I would say the majority, the higher percentage are, looking at townhouses, or a lower price point kind of single family home, right? Because part of the DPA or the down payment assistance is the affordability piece too, right? It's because we're not able to, push our price levels or our price points up too high. And so the majority of folks that are finding success are doing that in condos, townhouses, lower level single family homes. And they're having some successes with properties that have made it through the weekend, and it's, if a property hits the market on Thursday and you have that excited, motivated first-time home buyer that wants to run out and take a look at it, that's where you might find yourself in those multiple offers, depending on how well the listing agent did listing it and other things. But, for a property that has made it through the weekend or has had, sat on the market for a couple of weeks, those seem to be the ones that we're having the biggest success on.
Mm-hmm. And I agree. I remember, even in the competitive market, for some of my clients that were starting to get very tired, when I would go and filter new properties for us to potentially look at, I only would send things that had been on the market for over a certain number of days. And that certain number will depend on what's happening in the market. And so what that does is, one, especially in a competitive market, sellers feel like, well, my house should have sold in like 1 day, 2 days, based on what I'm hearing from everybody else, or my neighbor sold. And so they think like, well, why didn't I get any listings? So they kind of have like a little bit of like this like defeat, like, right. They've kind of lost that first weekend. Now, from a buyer's perspective, they can go in and they don't have competition. So if they put in an offer at list price, sometimes even below, they can get it accepted if they have seller concessions. And a lot of times they're not waiving the inspection. They're not waiving the appraisal. They're able to put a good, clean offer that benefits both the buyer and the seller when it's sat for just that little bit of time. So it's really helpful that if you are a buyer and you're starting to get fatigued by the market, you want to make sure you work with an agent that is going to be able to do those things for you. One of the other tips that I think isn't valued or used enough, this was harder to do last year, but you can still do it right now. I don't have a crystal ball, so I don't know what's going to continue to happen. But right now, a good opportunity as a first-time home buyer is new construction. And the reason why I like new construction is it's not about multiple offers, it's timing. So with the new construction, if you go and you like the house and you're the first person to write an offer or go under contract, it's yours. There's no like back and forth and all of that kind of stuff. And right now, there are still some builders with inventory. So you're not going to have to sit for 6 months or a year or whatever we saw with a lot of the supply issues that we saw during the pandemic market. We don't see that right now because it's back to normal. And it's so stress free when you're fatigued. Now, if you're trying to be in a certain area, that's a little bit harder. Most of the new build communities are on the outskirts of the metro area. One of the most affordable areas in the new build community is in Fort Lupton right now. And you can get an amazing house and it feels like you're kind of way out there, but you're not. You're really close to highway. It's a booming, growing community. It has a golf course. It has a community college. There's new builds there. I mean, they have 2 grocery stores and I mean, lots of Mexican food. So lots of really good food there. But that's another opportunity is that new construction space. Now, from a financing perspective, and Scott, I'll let you add your 2 cents on this, but if you buy a new construction, there's 2 things. One, you need to have your agent because at the end of the day, the salesperson in the office, they work for the person who's paying them their paycheck is the builder. They should not do anything that's unethical or anything that kind of that's sleazy. But if anything comes up or if you have questions or delays, you need an experienced realtor like myself who understands the new construction process, who can answer those questions for you, advocate for you. When we're going through the walkthroughs, I can say, that's a big issue, or you know what, let's put in a ticket. Let's get that solved. There's a lot of things that it's, a lot of stuff that could happen in the build process. I'll use 2 examples. So the first example that I use, and I just think it's hilarious. There is one builder, my buyer went and drove by the property and she's like, there's a window where there's not supposed to be. And it wasn't one of those small windows. It was a massive window, big window, which means they are starting to build the wrong elevation. So we caught it and they fixed it, but we caught it in enough time. And I knew how to navigate that process to help guide them and the builder to get that done. And then the second one is, which was an even bigger issue because I visited a property site and there was a bedroom missing, full on, they did not put, they were building the loft instead of the bedroom. And luckily, I make it a point on Sundays, especially to drive all my clients' properties that are new construction Sundays, because that's when a lot of the construction or the trades are not in there as much. So, so those are 2 big things that I caught, which if you work with the sales office, they may or may not go to bat for you on that, right? And then the other thing, the reason why you want to have a good partnership with your lender and your real estate agent is they will offer incentives for using their inside lender or title company or whatever. And it seems on the surface like it's an amazing deal. And sometimes it is. But it's important to have an outside party like Scott who can look at that information and say, you know what, they're giving you an amazing deal. Or they can look at it and say, yeah, it looks good, but your interest rate's this, or your closing costs are this much more. And use that you might realize that it might be better to use your own lender than to use the builder's lender. And that is a case all the time. Like it happens. And a lot of times, like they might say, like Richmond, for example, says like free basement. It's technically not the basement. It's the amount that they're giving you, that they're covering that the cost in their line item cost for that basement. That's the incentive. So it may or may not be worth it, but Scott, what do you think? Like, I get your perspective because you do this a lot more than I do.
Yeah. Well, first I would 100% agree. You always want to have agent representation. So just because it's a new build and you think that it's going to be built exactly the way and it's going to be perfect, that's not the case. And our one example is one time we did a sewer scope or an inspection on a new build and realized that the line wasn't hooked up to the public sewer. So like caught it like a foot gap in there. And so, so have your agent be there, right, to navigate all that stuff. But then, yes, when it comes to the financial side of it, we're always looking at any type of builder loan estimate and incentives. And I'm a huge fan and believer that, right, there are some phenomenal deals out there and great interest rate, great programs, credits, design centers. There's a lot of cool stuff that the builders can do because they have more of that leverage. And there's been plenty of times where we'll look at those loan estimates and I'll high five them and be like, hell yeah, that's great. Go get it. No hard feelings, slam dunk. Mm-hmm. You win. Good job. Go get it. Happy. Right?
Yeah.
There are times where you're like, hey, do you see this? Do you see that? And hey, yeah, you may be getting a $5,000 incentive, but your rate is a half a point or 3/8 higher, or hey, they're actually charging you an origination fee, even though you see a credit. Like there can be some wonkiness to those things too, which on surface level, you hear 10,000 incentive until you actually break down some of the financials and you realize like you're still paying for it somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Be kind of careful on that. And then there are some certain, back to first time home buyers, there are certain builders and stuff that we've learned that don't offer or don't do the down payment programs. And so if that's what you need, like, cool, you can still purchase a new build property with those programs. The builder's lender just might not offer that. And if they do, then it's going to be the same across the board. Like we would have the exact same program that anybody else does. But those are the only two things. Like keep an eye on the incentives. And then if you do need an assistance, all good, you can still purchase with those, but the builder's lender might not offer it.
I think another one too is good to point out is, you have the option to do USDA loans. Mm-hmm. Not all builders offer that. And because of the location of where a lot of these new communities are being built, it fits within the USDA approved geographic areas, which is interesting. A lot of people don't know that because they think just farms. But, there's a lot of like Eastern Plains new communities up north, like, the northwest side of town off of I-25 up north. Some of those communities actually qualify for USDA lending, and not all builder lenders offer that. So that's another reason why USDA loans, for those of you that are unaware, it's 0 down. So it competes very well with like a VA loan, which is a 0 down loan. Yes. So lots of really cool things. So just to kind of recap, first time home buyership is at an all-time low. That's unacceptable to me. It's just, if you feel like you're not sure or you're on the fence, then you need to reach out, drop a comment if you're on the Facebook feed, or send us a message, because you might be surprised what you can afford. And if you can't afford something now, Scott's amazing at coming up with a plan to make sure that you can become a homeowner eventually. We have, what do we have? Like 3 people right now that we're working through and helping them get situated and coming up with a really good plan for them. And then of course we have one family where I don't think they thought they were able to afford anything, and they're like super close and shocked at how much they can actually afford. So, there's some really creative ways, and that's why you need to have a really good lender like Scott to help you, because we don't need to be paying all that rent if you want to buy. I mean, when we think about like just under 19% increase year over year for Denver rents, I don't know how we're going to, I mean, it makes me feel like even, what is it? Not high net worth, but like the mid-level, like just an everyday person that soon will be considered low income or affordable housing because it's just getting so expensive here. And we really need to, we need to change that basically. And that's what we're going to work on.
Take a look at that. And I remember when these conversations were happening a couple of years ago, when we started to see really the start of the spikes and the appreciation levels. And, there was a study or something that if we keep this pace up, then we would surpass like that San Francisco environment. And we're on our way. And I wonder where Denver ranks. We've got to be 3 or 4, 2, 3, 4. We got to be probably in the top 5 of most expensive cities in the US, right?
And Denver is the most, or Colorado as a whole, is has the highest cost of living for a non-coastal state. So if you take out all of the coastal states, we are the most expensive place to live that isn't by an ocean.
Yep, 100%. Right. You're going to have New York, San Francisco, LA, San Diego, and probably us. Well, us will be the landlocked one for sure. And that's eye-opening, right? Especially when you look at a stat that you're 25% first-time home buyers, and how are you going to find success in this market? And, we have a lot of those conversations on, hey, let's figure out a way to get you into something, because if you can ride the wave with Colorado as it continues to do, like it's inevitable, it's going to go whatever direction it's going to go. But if you can ride with it, then you can continue to afford it because you're earning that free equity, right? It's those that can't get in that'll either continue to rent or get squeezed out, or maybe they look to move somewhere else. But there's still opportunity. There's still things that we're doing to find success, and, using down payment programs and not doing gaps yet. And there's plenty of opportunity for anybody looking to be a first time home buyer.
Yeah. So let's make it happen, y'all. Give us a call. We will help you. If it's not today and it's tomorrow, we're here. We're not going anywhere. We're here to help you.
Just a game plan.
100%. So thank you all so much for joining us. I think Facebook worked because I got a comment. So yeah. So maybe we'll try to do it again next week on Facebook as well. Cool. But thank you all so much for joining us this week for your weekly edition of the Denver Market Moment, where we go over all things Denver market in the Denver metro area. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Scott and I. If you comment on my feed, I will give you emails and all that stuff. If you have questions, reach out to me as well. We'll set up a buyer's consult and just figure out what are your goals. We can talk a little bit about areas and budget, and go from there. So thank you all so much. You have a great week. Have a fantastic week. Enjoy the sun. I don't know when we're going to get our next snow, so just soak it all in while you can right now.
Yeah. Love it. See you guys next week.
Bye.